Hi guys, Andy here, and welcome back to Elsewhere High, Chapter 2. And we pretty much got dumped off by our dad, which is also familiar. I'm partially joking. Um, okay. A school bus towered in front of him. The doors opened not to a driver beckoning him on, but to a dark and unwelcoming set of stairs that led him into an equally discouraging corridor. Matthias looked back down the road, hoping to find his father's car lit up in the distance. His head fell, and it remained drooped as he climbed the stairs onto the bus. The driver was caged in with windows that were obstructed by a heavy tint. Matthias gripped the side of his pants in clear unease. A girl sat near the back of the bus, but Matthias decided to sit by himself near the front. He needed to recharge. Hey. Matthias turned his body toward her, and she gave a weak smile. Wanna come sit? Matthias threw himself on the bed, knowing that even the soft landing would send rippling pain throughout his frame. Grabbing handfuls of the sheet's fabric, he pulled himself toward the wall and warmed his way up it with the shoulder that wasn't bruised and tender. He slowly slid his shirt off of himself, trying his best to work the slack around the painful areas. As he brought his hands to his hips with the intention of rolling his undershirt up and off his body, he quickly abandoned the idea. It was tight and hugged his torso in places that were clearly injured. No. He tossed his head backwards in frustration and then placed 2 fingers in the tear near the top of his ribs. His skin was hot, and as he exhaled quickly and deeply, he felt it tighten around his muscles and bones. And if I sound any different, I'm laying down in bed because I'm not sitting in a chair today. Okay. He knew exerting strength in any way would be painful, but after a few moments of gathered concentration, he braced himself and pulled. Shit. Now, Bear, Matthias took a moment to assess himself. There's a deep cut across his back and bruises throughout his abdomen. Shit. Okay. He sank lower into the bed and tried to calm himself. I just gotta rest. Surprisingly, it came quickly. I'm not sure if I trust him. Matthias jerked awake, his body dripping in sweat. What? He couldn't remember dreaming. How long? He began to reach for a watch that he kept in the nightstand next to him, before remembering that the battery had died not long after his arrival at Elsewhere. Ugh. He let his arm fall and thump onto the top of the stand. His stomach let out a loud growl. Gotta eat. With a slow turn, he tried to raise himself from the bed, but instead discovered that his entire body was stiff and his muscles completely seized. Oh my god. Damn it. Matthias could feel that his skin had become warmer than before, and it ached at the touch of anything. His head pulsed, and he felt a nausea like never before. I'm gonna puke. Steadying himself for the coming pain, Matthias turned his body towards the edge of the bed and allowed it to contract. The sensation knocked his breath from his body. His ribs were swallowed by knotted and swollen muscles, and a sharp stabbing pain trailed down his spine to the top of his legs. The vomit splattered across the floor, shooting every which way. Oh my god. His breath couldn't come quick enough. Soon the stench became thick and overbearing. He tried to push out the words loudly enough to call for help, but his lungs were shriveled. Help. He didn't have the strength to cry. Soon, rest took him once again. If something pops up, I'm gonna be very pissed. This time he woke much more calmly. As consciousness eased its way back into his mind, Matthias could feel something at the edge of his bed, near his feet. What? He rolled his neck upwards and saw that a plate of food was placed there. As quickly as he could, Matthias inched his way towards it. It was piled high with chicken thighs, sweet potato, and some sort of green that Matthias wasn't familiar with. It was delicious and altogether satiating. The fats of the food smeared themselves across his face as he pushed the more substantial parts into his mouth as quickly as he could. He let out a deep moan. And then, while he was still eating, Matthias caught a whiff of a rather intrusive smell. It was fresh and had heavy aromas of citrus. He studied his room and then looked over the edge of his bed to see his floor washed clean. What? While his strength was still constrained and his body still weak, Matthias drew a breath and spoke as loudly as he could. Hello? There was no response. Miss DuPont? Again, nothing. Miss DuPont? During his last attempt, he pushed himself too far and felt the effect and the stinging in his ribs. A glass of water sat on his nightstand and it took him no time to gulp it down. He had no way to gauge how long it had been since his altercation, but what he did know was that his body was unmistakably calling for more rest. It came, without fight, as soon as he closed his eyes. This time he did dream. It was foggy and vague, but he dreamed nonetheless. In it, he stood in a room that housed large, heavy objects that were wholly nondescript and dwarfed him indiscriminately. What is this place? Even though they were still, the objects terrified him. Their very being imposed on him and forced him into a panic. As he stood stoic, Matthias could feel a sudden rise in temperature. The air became thick and pressed against his skin. With the hot air came an altogether foreign sensation. He felt an alien force flow through him, take commanding control of his muscles, and lift his arms high above his head. Stretching his palms open, Matthias felt as though his limbs were elastic and extended far beyond their natural reach. Instead of truly expanding, his hand sent an energy outwards that pushed the objects away with a daunting force. With his new, invisible appendage, Matthias stretched his arms in and out and sent into action these waves of energy that pushed away the towering blocks. He felt his face flush with the realization of his power. And then he woke up. He was startled awake, and upon regaining his sight, he felt the same energy from the dream surround him. He took a moment to let it pass. It didn't. Matthias looked at his hands. What? He shook them violently as if to rid them of the strange sensation. What is this? Pressing his hands to his abdomen, Matthias poked in various places to see if his muscles were still tender and torn. They were, but much less than before. Let's try. He rolled over to prop himself up with his hands, and his leg fumbled over the edge of the bed. The first one reached the floor, and then he began to steady himself on the second. As he did, he stumbled and instinctually shot out an arm to find his balance. With a sudden thrust came an expulsion of energy. It shot from the tip of his fingers and in its wake caught the glass of water that sat on his nightstand. It hit the wall behind it and shattered. Matthias brought his hands in front of his face and steadied them. Front and back, he ran them through his hair. No. For some reason, Matthias began to chuckle. I'm going insane. Tears ran down his face as he laughed. I'm going insane, Papa. Do you see this? He calmed himself and then found comfort once again by lying in his bed. I'll just get some more rest. But he couldn't. His mind was too astir to sleep, and whenever he closed his eyes, his thoughts would remind him of this overwhelming presence that surrounded him. It's heavy. He sat up swiftly. Ugh. He turned his hands and steadied them again. There's no way. He shook his head to himself. There's no way. Matthias reluctantly limped towards his bedroom door and slowly turned the doorknob. Left open and he let the door prop itself slightly ajar. He turned away from it, took a few steps back, and then positioned his body towards it once again. He took deep, thoughtful breaths. I hope you can hear me over the sound of this music. This is stupid. He raised his arm slowly towards the door, remaining mindful and aware of the energy that fought for his attention. With his elbow bent slightly, Matthias pulled his arm back and waited for a few moments, focused, and then pushed it forward. Not together, a visible force left his body in the direction of his arm and sped towards the door, slamming it shut. Matthias stood as still as stone. No. He lurched his arm forwards again, and the energy left him once more, this time meeting a closed door. The wood creaked against the pressure. No. He smiled, cried, twisted his body this way and that. His thoughts were gibberish and his actions were impetuous. Gotta get out of here. He grabbed his clothes, threw them on as quickly as his limited movement would allow, and limped out the door. Out of the building, and down the road, away from the campus of Elsewhere High. What? Is this S? Oh my god, this is an S. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna end that here. I'm gonna continue Jared's story in the next episode, which will be tomorrow on Thursday, and I'll keep going with 2 installments on Friday. And if I get a chance, I'll do a very special video for you this weekend because I have something arriving tomorrow and I'm very excited to record it. But as always, thank you so much. And that was an interesting story. Bye for now. Bye for now.